Dreams. It's a little cottage on 1/3 of an acre just inside the city limits. But then the property tax law changed. And if we did the dreams that I had, our property taxes would skyrocket. Earlier this winter, after my husband and I managed to pay off our house, we were talking that unfortunately we would never truly own our house because of property taxes. And with this property tax increase, we've discussed the reality that if we were in the market to buy a house today, our house would be out of our price range. And it's not a big one, people. So when this property tax increase came up, I took what I knew about taxes and about laws from my real estate days, and I've always, since I got involved in real estate, started watching the market around me, just fascinated. And I knew which houses on my street had sold. We had friends that had done a remodel. We had had another house that had had a remodeled. So I just woke up one Saturday morning and said, I'm going to find out the property tax difference on our street. And the first slide we have here is the results, the summary of the results of that. You can see on this side, I could only go back to 2020 in the actual property tax bills. 2016 shows you the taxable values and the increases. It's a whole street. Now, it's a fairly small street. But you can see that starting in 2020, the taxable value increases are circled in red for 21. That's the assessment year. And 2022. And then the circled in blue is the amount of additional taxes the county got off of our street. Just a stone's throw from my street is a newly developed subdivision. That subdivision is still under development today. And I looked at that one. I looked at commercial. I looked at some apartments. And yes, like many of you suspected and questioned, reassessment, remodeling, sales, development does give the county an increase. If you look at the next slide, you will see the difference it makes. I took the county budgets, all of which are online, and everything I'm showing you tonight is public record. You can go find this information yourself. I went back to 2015 looking at the actual property tax income. Now I want to back up. On the first screen, that was the property tax line for the county only, did not include our city taxes or anything else. Okay? This is only the property tax revenues from 2015 through this most recent tax season. You can see from 2015 to 2022, the county has gotten an additional $32 million just this past year. The average increase is 4.89%, and even in reassessment year, it was 3.59%. So they're getting additional money. It's out there for them. They're just in denial. This started me asking more questions. So I found a website called South Carolina Association of Counties. Some of you that have followed me have seen that website. And I use that website for a lot of resources. They have on it tables, definitions. There's a report done every year comparing the counties of the state and all of their tax and fees for each individual county. They put them, there's also tables. And then they give opinions on issues. This is a great way to check stats. So among the many reports, the one that I used the most was the one that compared the counties. Their latest stats are from 2022, so the rest of the numbers we're going to give you for the next little bit are going to be from that report. If you look at the next screen, what is a millage? It's just a fancy way of saying property taxes, and it's usually put in a percentage. A mill is equal to $1 of tax per $1,000 in assessed value. On their site, they're breaking down our base millage and including in it the library and the Greenville Tech, so that puts our millage up at 59 mills, which when in their discussions over the property tax increase, that was not included because that's a separate line item issue. But this is how they were comparing counties, and that's going to be important to you in just a minute. This number does not include the sewers, municipalities, school boards, or fire districts. Now, the next screen is the value of a mill. They have a calculation, and I don't know how they do it. They don't tell me that. But this is the approximate value based on a percentage of a county's total assessed value contingent on 100% collections. And this is how they compare counties. For Greenville County in 2022, this is $2.8 million. We are the second highest value of a mill in the state. We are ranked behind Charleston County, which is at 4.7. We are ahead of Horry County, which is at 2.7. Now the next screen is the shocking one because you kept hearing us compared to our surrounding counties in the upstate. If they're trying to raise $20 million, Greenville County only has to raise about 7 mills at that 2.8 mil value. Anderson has to go 23 mills. Pickens has to go 31 mills, Oconee 33, Lawrence 107, and Spartanburg 130 mills to get $20 million. That middle column there is the value of a mill in their counties. So your home in Greenville County is assessed much higher than it would be if we moved it into any of our surrounding counties. That's the difference. So when they're comparing it and saying, well, we're paying lower in millage, they're not being honest with you. Because your $250,000 house in Greenville County is less house than a $250,000 house in any of our surrounding counties. Now, this weekend, we had to make a quick change to the PowerPoint today because this weekend I was given a piece of paper by somebody not on county council. And I got to thinking about it. In the beginning of April, Joe Cornell made an estimate of the 2023 value of a mill. The next screen, so I did quick calculations. The next screen shows the value of a mill, what they're estimating it to be at this point before our tax bills are even generated is $2.9 million. So if they had not increased our taxes, they would have gotten an additional $13.7 million without a tax increase. That's estimated. We don't know the true value of a mill yet. But with the tax increase, at this point, the estimate is $26.2 million based on Joe Cornell's records. He's estimating that they collect about 88% of the taxes due. Now, if they would go and collect and get property owners that are paying 4% on rental properties instead of the required 6%, think what that would do. And there's cars here that are not registered here for people living here. Now keep in mind, when we talk about that $32 million additional dollars that they got in 2022 over 2015, that whole time there was never a millage increase. And they continued to give our county staff, including deputies and EMTs, pay raises. They didn't have to cut them. They did cut some of the budget to get through their increase this time, and some of the cuts came to the sheriff's office and the EMS, and what they did add to the EMS was upper-level management. Exactly just what they need. The last screen I want to show you here is just a brief description of figuring it. You take the assessed value of your property times the assessment ratio. Commercial depends on the type of commercial. Some of them are just over 10%. Most of them are at 6%. That also is for rental. And then you multiply times the millage rate. If you're in a homeowner occupied, it's 4%. Enough of numbers. How did I get to this point? I listened to the budget workshop, and I started reading the budget. Inordinately high numbers jumped out at me. When you have the Human Relations Commission getting a 44% increase in their budget, I asked my boss the day I found that, and I calculated by their website, showed about 3 employees being paid. I said, can I have a $30,000 a year increase in my pay? That was met with silence. Those of you who know him know who I work for. I couldn't find any concrete answers. I learned we don't do zero-based budgeting. We don't even really have a spending bill. Because did you know Joe Cornell can move money around the county at will without ever asking county council's permission? Like the crane. I was about to bring up the crane story. Those of you who read my crane story, that is a true story where he put money in the budget for a crane. And we, to this day, don't know whatever happened to that money. And he actually had the audacity to bring it up at the budget workshop, almost like it was a joke. Then I looked at the auditor's report, and even more questions arose. I looked at the expenses for Halton Road and for the new buildings. I manually entered each one into an Excel spreadsheet. And boy, was that eye-opening. That's when I discovered we spent $60,000 almost, within a few dollars, on water bottles, coffee cups, and coffee tumblers alone. There's more expenses like it. You know, $1,700 in new writing pens. We bought all new lanyards for all the employees. Why? I don't know. Nobody's giving me an answer. Then I found out we're sloppy in what we're doing. Now, you know I spent a lot of time doing data entry. Better believe I couldn't ever be sloppy. Whether this is accidental or intentional, so we don't know what's really going on, we don't know. But in my book, in an organization this size, there's no room for sloppiness. A lot of my writing that I've done has come in direct response to things that were said on the news or in meetings by the county officials, and some of you have seen that. If Dan Tripp has said something on TV or in a meeting, I've responded to him. So have I responded to some others. I've had multiple people reach out to me in private to give me information or just tell me where to look. I don't reveal my sources. There remains a pile of questions to ask and information to sort through. There are still all of the questions I've asked that need to be answered. This same research really needs to be done for each governing entity within our county. Yes, we lost the vote on property taxes, the battle. But we are in a war that we have to continue to fight. And win. Now is the time to start working on replacing these people who voted against the taxpayer. Our county government must become more open. We must put pressure on them to put more things online. They must stop giving away money to special interests. Just because it sounds good doesn't mean we, the taxpayer, should be paying for it. You can look for the roads to come up again soon in the form of another tax, probably either a sales tax or additional road maintenance fee. You can look for a discussion on the Triumph Soccer Stadium. Is the money hidden in the budget? Probably, but where? Only Joe Cornell knows for sure. We must not continue to allow the citizens to have a short memory. We must continually remind them. My goal is to continue to write on issues and keep reminding people so we don't forget before the next local election cycle starts. I know I've given you a lot of information and numbers tonight. Please feel free to reach out to me. I can back up what I have said. I do plan on posting a written version of what I have said online tonight so you can review it. Again, I want to thank you for having me.
So, Michelle, your story about Joe Cornell laughing about I think it was a crane that you said, reminded me of when we had our solicitor visit us. That was part of one of our education sessions we do, and he was telling a story about some legislator who was having his girlfriend ride around and, taking her hotel rooms, and taxpayer money, and how when they were looking at it in the Ethics Commission, they all kind of laughed. It was so the level of arrogance of, I think, some of the people in the political class is what has gotten us to where we are, but I think it's what's fueling the fight with all of us. So thank you so much, Michelle. I look forward to further discussions with you, a Q&A, and you were really amazing. So, and with that, I'd like to ask Joe McLaughlin to come up and give us the credentialing report, please.
Thank you, folks, for being here tonight. Even with the crazy storm and the trees down, school night, and a lot of other factors, we have 108 represented precincts here tonight. 33 couldn't make it. And as you know, you can always text or email. We prefer the paper copy, but you can text or email. So thank you for bringing the proxies with us. 108. 33 unrepresented here tonight, 10 unorganized. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So you received in your meeting notice packets a resolution commending and thanking our Greenville County Councilman that voted against the tax increase. At this point, I would like to have Joe Dill come up and please read us that resolution and make a motion that we approve it.
I hope everybody got a copy of this resolution. Did anybody not get a copy? All right, I'm going to read it to you. Okay. But before I do that, I want to say something. God has really blessed me. I served for 36 years. Julie Hershey served with me on the school board. Nobody could understand how fight on the school board is. It is the closest thing to hell you can get. And then God put me on the county council. And I served with Mark Kingsbury. Mark, stand up. One of the most conservative men that I have ever served with. And God has blessed us. For 25 years, I served with Mark. And we didn't need a tax increase because we knew everything that Michelle had told you. We read those budgets. You sat at home and you didn't have to worry about it. You know why you didn't have to worry about it? Nobody was reaching down into your pocket trying to get the money you wanted to buy medicine, pay the doctor, make light bill payments and all of those things. You knew that we were going to take care of you, but it's not that way anymore. And Michelle has explained it, and that's the reason I wanted to bring this resolution, a commendation of appreciation, and that at the ECs, the leaders of Greenville County would vote to acknowledge these four men. Now, Rick Bradley was not able to be here. His father passed away, and we understand all of that. But he made some strides, and we don't need to push these people. The other side of this coin, I don't know if you look at Facebook or not, but the group on the other side's already working to get rid of these men. They're already working. They're already putting out false information. Oh, they hate diversity and all of these things. That's dumb.
They hate socialism.
But anyway, that's the way the communists do us, you know. They just feed us mushrooms and put us in the dark, you know. But they want us to be a mushroom. I didn't want to say what they really feed us. But anyway. Don't tell nobody I even referred to that. Do what? What you saying, Stan? Go ahead, Stan. Okay. Stan's wanting to talk. All right. This resolution of commendation and appreciation, I make a motion that we approve it, and I will continue to read if possible. Whereas Benton Blunt, District 19, Rick Bradley, District 26, Steve Shaw from District 20, Stan Jubilauskas, District 22, were elected as Republicans to represent the voters of their district. And whereas low taxes are a fundamental principle of the Republican Party platform, and on the issue of tax policy, our platform states, we are the party of opportunity and support a tax policy designed to help the economy grow, not stunt the taxpayer or punish achievement. And whereas voters expect elected officials to take into account nationwide economic conditions that will impact their constituents, and we are living with high inflation and the highest interest rates in over 20 years. Anybody feel that? Say amen. Amen. Whereas the aforementioned councilman voted against the millage increase in the Greenville County 24 and 25 budgets, which along with nationwide inflation and the Greenville County School District's hike, will further diminish taxpayers' wealth and spending ability. Taxpayers, and whereas Councilman Blunt, Bradley, Steve Shaw, and Stan all proposed amendments and process changes that took into consideration the needs of all stakeholders, not just Democrat special interest groups and county employees, and would have resulted in a true compromise. And whereas Councilman Jubilauskas was told by the county administrator that a $5 million increase would have avoided any cuts to county staff. Therefore, the Executive Committee of the Greenville County Republican Party issues this resolution of commendation and appreciation to the following councilmen: Benton Blunt, District 19, Rick Bradley, District 26, Steve Shaw, District 20, and Stan Jubilauskas, in District 22. On this, the 7th day of August. And I present that as a motion. All right, can we have them to come up? We've got these. I want these men to come up here because y'all don't really realize how hard it is to go against the flow. Julie knows how it feels. Mark knows how it feels, and anybody else that's served in office knows. Come on down. She's good to appreciate this. She's got it for you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
We gotta get pictures, Joe.
Come on in here. You get right over here.
Thank you, guys.
We'll give that to Rick.
Thank you, Joe.
Rick. Thank you. Listen, Joel wants to be in this thing. Where'd he go? Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Let me tell you one thing that happened because of Willis Meadows and me. We refused this. We said this tax on your tag was illegal. And because we questioned that, they took away our chairmanships. They did all kind of stuff. These guys are going to have a tough life if we don't get behind them and push.
Well, again, thank you, County Councilman and Joe. And again, the message, and Michelle, you said it very eloquently, is how many, we need 7 votes to replace Joe Cornell on council. Is that correct? That's right. So our job is, if we're not doing our job to help these guys, to not only protect them from the attacks, but then also to elect people that are more like-minded, then, everything that they're doing, it's nothing. So we owe them that. We'll talk a bit more about that when we get to my report. But again, I want to thank them very much for being here, and to Joe Dill for having this idea. All right? Okay. So at this point, I would like to ask for our treasurer's report from our treasurer, Mary Wheeler.
Okay. This is not very interesting, so we're just going to make it short and sweet. If I can just get this open. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. Yes. And if anybody wants to vote me a 33% raise, I'll take it.
33% enough.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take it, whatever you want to do. Okay, here we are. So 4561.80 is our balance on hand at the beginning of July. We had a total income of $14.25, and that was through membership dues, general donations, and we did do a little bit of fundraising with the movie. Thank you. And we did make a little bit with donations for the promotional materials, the door hangers that people picked up. Our expenses, wow, where's my laser pointer? Our expenses totaled $1866.36, so we're kind of in the hole for this month. Rent, utilities, general liability insurance. We have a deposit for the venue for the Christmas party, and we had to pay for the theater for the movie night. The movie, we asked for $7 from everyone, and some people donated that didn't get to the movie. I know everybody, sometimes these movies are a little tough and dry, but we try to use them for education, and we also, we need funds. I'm going to censor a lot of what I would have just said here about the state convention, but we need funds, and we're going to be doing some fundraising here coming up. We have a lot of fun ideas coming up. So anything anybody can do for us. I realize that pretty much everybody here, is our regulars, and we're always begging, and everybody here tries to give. And we're going to be coming up with some fundraisers that are going to expand the environment so that it's just not the regulars, but we still appreciate it wholeheartedly, anything that anybody can give to put back towards the effort. So our balance on hand at the end of the month is $41.20.44, and if it is not already, the treasurer's report and the bank statement will go online to the website, so anybody can see it there. And of course, if you have questions, I'm sorry, I discontinued my email. No. No, you can find me. You can, yeah. Thank you, Madam Treasurer.
Thank you. To our chairman, state chairman, Drew McKissick, talk about how fundraising money is used, and it's key. The infrastructure to do things like knocking on doors, to providing materials, all of that is really key to the party growth. So that, that's a large part of where our funds go. So, I mean, I just wanted to, kind of reiterate that, So, so I'll give you guys a funny story. So someone put on Facebook, they said, well, because I was attacking the establishment people that went after Rob Harris, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the attack notes that were sent out to him, but I said how horrible they were, and they said, well, why are you talking against the establishment since you were at the Silver Elephant? And I said, well, I don't mind paying the salaries of people that are doing some work, the officers that actually contribute to the party. That's just, I'm not going to pay Ronna McDaniel's salary. So, so that was my, right, exactly. So that was my comment. So you all received the minutes from our meeting. So according to Robert's rules, we don't have to read those, but we did have one correction, and Karen Ekus, would you like to, I think, clarify that for us? Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, you can go ahead.
Karen Ekus, EC, Castle Rock Precinct. I move to amend the minutes of the June 5th Greenville County Republican Party business meeting per Robert's Rules of Order to accurately reflect the motion as presented by Diana Weir. The motion in the minutes should read, quote, to request that ECs report regularly on a monthly basis on how many contacts they have made so we can keep track that we are meeting our goals on a regular basis to grow the party. In addition, the phrase motion to commit to action, which means to commit or refer the motion to a committee for further review, is amended to read motion passed.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Are there any further corrections? I think, Tony, you had one. Thank you.
Minor correction. Do I need this? Can you hear my voice?
Yes, we hear you, Tony.
Hallelujah, yes.
Amen.
Okay. Anthony DiLorenzo, Darby Ridge. Okay. And minor correction on relating to the Greenville mayoral elections on June 13th. Well, I was working there, and it was a primary. So I believe we need to change just that one word, primary, change election to primary. It was a primary election. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Tony. Are there any further? That's right. Good. Is that good? Okay. Who was the second? Okay. Thank you. All right. All in favor? As amended? Oh, good job. Okay. Well, thank you very much, guys. We're grinding down here, so now I'd like to give you a point. Mm-hmm. Sure.
My name is Tiffany Mock. I'm the EC of
Come on.
My name is Tiffany Mock. I'm the EC in Frohock. Whoa, that's loud. I wanted to ask you if I was trying to remember, since we're going into an election year, and we want on record that we censured the Republican caucus for ejecting our Freedom Caucus members. And I was trying to remember if we did that at one of our meetings in the fall. I thought maybe we did it in September or October. Do you remember?
No, that we did that at the convention.
At the county convention?
Acclamation.
Okay, so maybe the parliamentarian can help me understand. Does that go on record? Like, we'll be able to say for sure we censured them and they can't skirt out of that?
It goes on record that we have done that.
Okay.
And our representative to the state was to have.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it does go on record that we have done that, and our representative to the state executive committee was to have presented that censure.
Okay. Good?
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Point of inquiry on that, Everett Headley,
Yes.
Travelers S1. That motion was passed by the convention. It is my understanding it was never presented to the state. Was it presented to the state? If so, who did it? And if not, why was it not? It was presented before the state convention? Okay, because they said nobody sent it except for Anderson. Yeah, I inquired.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so, well,
Okay.
yeah, what's the,
Well,
yeah.
Well, it wasn't issued as one of the motions to be presented to the convention, so I was wanting to know what happened to the motion. So,
I sent it down to the state party. They don't answer our emails. They don't answer the letters. They don't answer. But I sent it down to them, yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All righty. Ready to move on, guys? All right. Okay, so how are we doing? This is my report, and we're going to talk about, first of all, you're going to go to the next slide. It's how are we doing? And so this is just a quick reminder of what our goals are. This is a slide that we did for one of Joe Centeno's trainings. So, you know, the party, if you look at what the party rules say, we are required to support candidates and to help grow the party. But they're typically, you cannot, if you're going to do something like that, you need to put some data and some numbers. As Michelle talks, you just can't say we're going to grow. So we actually went to, Jeff being a numbers guy, we put, numbers around that. So those are the things that we want to achieve. And of course, my favorite is the last one, which is the achieve a 2024 primary turnout goal that is double that of 2020, last year, which was only 14%. And then I always like to show that little deal there from the SC votes to show how just pitiful, absolutely pitiful the primary turnout was. And so we have got to fix that, guys. So if you go to the next slide, please, Austin. So, okay, you won't get a prize like Deb Sofield gives at her first Mondays, but does anybody have any idea what that number means? Even a wild... Okay, I'm hearing some mumblings. No. Anybody? Voters? Population? No. Okay. You're never going to guess it. So anyway. So if you think about, and so I love this whole idea of the 7 touches. We talk about, we're big on education, but I'm also big on, activating your education. And so we, the 7 touches thing is the idea around someone feels a commitment to you and will actually, are much more likely to come out and vote if you ask them to versus you're going and knocking on their door one time. So it's all about building a relationship, and the 7 touches is kind of a magic, scientific number. And it was funny, so Jeff, Olga, Terry, and I went down to Oconee. Conservatives, they asked me to come and speak about the transition from, becoming, being a black female and becoming a conservative. So it was a great group of folks. And a military guy came up to me afterwards, and he said, yeah, he said, we learned that in the military. So that number is, if you add up all of the goals on all of those sheets, and if you add up the total number of touches, that's the number of touches that we should do between now and general election. So it's each one of those spreadsheets. If you add up that, that number, so it's the 7. So that's where, and so the point is, if you go to the next slide for me, Austin. So thank you to everyone. First of all, shout out to everyone that turned in some data. I know we're just getting started. And again, this is not meant to be punitive or a competition. Because remember, guys, we're like in a rowboat, so everybody's got to do their part. So that's the little slice there is what we sort of did, what we got. And I know there was actually more because where's Miss Terry? I didn't get your report. But so I know there were more. And remember, these are touches. So it's whether you're knocking on somebody's door, you're inviting them to come to your house for coffee. It's any kind of contact that will keep that relationship going. But it just shows you that big orange pie is what we have left. So that brings me to my next point, which is, process is important, but there's a difference between process and results. And if you're a process person, if you are more interested in making sure that we do everything according to Robert's Rules of Order correctly, you need to find people in your precinct who are willing to go out and knock on doors, to talk to people, to do what Benton Blount said his grandfather did. Because being experts at Robert's Rules of Order is not going to, it's a sad story, but, I mentioned to Oconee, I said, why is the Republican Party walking dead in places like California? How have we completely lost, in a red state like Texas, why have we lost the city of Houston? Why have we lost Greenville, the city of Greenville? Why? So my whole point is we've got to get more focused on the real meat of talking to and contacting voters and getting some results. And so I know this is hard, this whole thing of contacting, not everybody's a door knocker, but you don't have to do that. But I want to say that for human beings, the default is to do the easy thing. So remember, it's just like, I think it was Mike I was talking to when he said, it's like, sin, that we talked about sin. I mean, it's hard to be good. Sin is easy. As people will say, you don't have to teach a 2-year-old to lie, And so the default that what we're going to want to do is the easy task. We're going to want to default and say, well, let me look and see that they do this right, or, but anyway, so that's nothing bad about that, but just the point that that's what you will have to overcome. So if you go to the next slide, Austin, I just want to talk organizationally a little bit about committees, and I'm going to have Mike come up. The committee group is absolutely fabulous. We're meeting tomorrow to finally get all of the information on the websites. We wanted to make sure that we had all the chairs correctly and membership. So Nikki Peters, Chrissy Bonner, and I will be meeting tomorrow to finalize that, so you'll be able to go on the website. We still do have the interest survey out there, so if you did not submit that, you can do that. But these are all the committees, and you guys are just doing really amazing work. Really, really amazing. So and a particular shout out to the ones that are super active right now. You know, and when we get to the calls to action, we'll talk about that. I think next slide. That's a call to action, but before we get to that, I want to have Mike come up and talk about the other aspect of organization, which is very quickly on the zones, because I know there's a lot of questions and confusion.
Thanks, Yvonne. I'm Mike Voden, President, Walnut Springs, and third vice chair. Got that? I'm heading up the reorganization committee. Tommy Marifera and Joe Jones are on the committee and doing unbelievable work. If they're here, you should stand up and be recognized, because they are there every day of the week working on this. I don't see anybody here. Tommy's over there. Stand up, Tom. The idea of the zones were so that we could get away from a lot of process and just have folks that want to save their country be able to get together and share what they do well, what they're trying to accomplish, and just do the business. You know, get down and figure out what kind of resolutions that we need going forward for the next EC meeting by the county to be able to fundraise. But most importantly right now is this number of 10,000 voters. If we have 10,000 voters in Greenville County that follow the platform, believe in the Constitution, and want to have the kind of gentlemen like we had over there that are fighting for us, then we need to have 10,000 voters. If we have 10,000, we'll control the county. And so that is our focus, that's our mission. Everything else is just noise. That's how we look at it. And so we do have 12 zones now. I believe we have 12 solid zone leaders, but that probably will fluctuate just as we have ECs come in and out. We do have a website now, www.greenvillegop, and what does that say? Oh, .com/zones. It'll be in the notes. We'll get it out to you guys in emails too. Additionally, I'm working on a first meeting with all 12 zone leaders. We're just going to do a cookout, that sort of thing, and have everybody sort of share it, because we have some zone leaders that have had a lot of meetings already and really done a lot of good work, and it's a great opportunity for us to talk to or be able to share with you some of the issues around election integrity, around medical freedom, around really a buyer's exchange, parallel economy sort of things. There's a lot of work being done on all these things, and we can get around to all the different zones and share that information with you. So we're real excited about that, and really that's about it. So everything is out there. You can receive it. If anybody has questions, you can reach out to Tommy or myself, and we will respond. And that's it. So thank you.
Thank you again, Mike, and again, T and Tommy and the rest of the crew have just done an amazing job with this. So with this, I'd like to just finish my last slide with calls to action, things that we need your help with. First of all, the office support team, you know, we have volunteers. Glenn Hurst is a very sexy secretary. I mean, I love seeing him sitting there at the desk, and he does a great he does a great job. But anyone who has some spare time, if you can spare some time just to sit in the office, and it's actually fun. You learn a whole lot. So we need supports there. The candidate recruitment, Deb and the rest of the team could not. I think Jim, I did see Jim back there. So he's representing candidate recruitment tonight, but their message is that all of us need to be candidate recruiters. So, you know, just keep your eyes out if it's not you, if there's someone else you know. So please help in that effort. They're doing a great job. Election integrity, that is, if there's anyone, I reached out to a couple of people, that's a big nut to, to crack. So we're looking for a chairman there. They have not yet had a meeting. I think pretty much every other committee on the board there has been organized as a chair of their meeting, but election integrity has not. So if you have any interest in that, and I think we need to do things a little bit differently than we've done in the past. I think, one of the lessons that we're learning, and it's funny, I talked to a Washington Examiner reporter today, and they never like what I have to say. They never publish it, but that's all right. I just babble away anyway. And, he's asking me about, DeSantis and blah, blah. I said, well, we actually are trying to get more of a local focus because we have a lot of problems in Greenville. We have a big tax hike, so, this presidential stuff will take care of itself, but, we're trying to focus more locally. So the Christmas party, silent auctions. Please don't have Terry yell at me because she's very scared. She's scary Terry. So please, if anybody can get any donations for the silent auction would be great. And then get active, and as Mike just talked about, we're only meeting every other month, and that's a lot of time. As I said, we don't have as much time left as we think, before we get to these primaries. So please get active in your zones and precincts. And then our latest new idea is, I'm doing every other week chairman's letter, but we're going to add to that a committee highlights. So those of you that are in charge of committees, like Carrie, she does a great job, please be prepared. We'll just give you a call, and we'll say, what's the highlights? What do you need from the group? So you'll have something that, the whole thing is information that you can use, either in talking with people, with voters, so you know what's going on. So we're going to add that. And then also, please submitting ideas for chairman's newsletter tips. And I think that was my last slide. Is that right? Oh, some pictures. How could we forget? This is a little entertainment interlude. So this is our photographs of those. That is Sonia. She's a lady that actually ran against Clyburn. So she and I were. That's right, exactly. So we were at our Silver Elephant table together. So thank you for putting that in there, Olga. What else? And of course, I'm very. Oh my gosh. I'm very jealous. I mean, I had a great time at the Silver Elephant. It was a lot of fun. But, there's that spandex thing, and it was hot, and, and then these guys are sitting in the tarmac, and they get to see, and I was in the peanut gallery, so I didn't get anywhere near, though. It was a great speech. But look at those. Isn't that great? I'm so jealous. Hey, thank you. Thank you, guys. So that was great. So at this point, I am going to ask Jeff Davis to come up and give his executive committee member report.
Thank you, Yvonne.
You're welcome.
I'll take that one. Does this one work better? Yes. Perfect. I like my new job. It's much better because then I get to sit on that side of the tables. And I'm sure there's a couple people in the audience that like my new job, too. Oh, that's right, yeah. Wait a second now. I'm not so sure about some of these jokes. Back to the point, we had the convention back in, the county convention back in March or April. We did submit up the resolution as, in regards to the censure. Thanks for Everett Headley bringing that up. But as y'all know, for the past 2 years, every email and every letter that we've sent to the state party has been unanswered. So it's kind of interesting that they're now concerned about we're not sending them stuff. But I'm a process guy. I'm a detail guy. We send that stuff down there. I appreciate them bringing that up. But even if, but we did hear that Anderson had sent it down. Did you hear it at the state convention? Did anybody hear about, putting forth that resolution to censure the Republican caucus? Because we did hear that Anderson's, they at least have acknowledged that. It falls into the circular file, anything you send down to the state executive committee. But anyhow, we'll go past. That was the state convention. We did have our first meeting. We had a meeting where we elected the officers to the various committees other than the top 3 officers, the chair, state EC, and first vice chair, back on June 5th. After that, we did have our first meeting with the State Executive Committee. The day before, I received an email that said that I was not going to be allowed in the meeting, that I could send a proxy. So a lot of people have had the confusion that Greenville's not going to be represented. We will be represented whether I am ever allowed in the meetings, or if we send a proxy, or if Yvonne Julian is there as chair. She's the automatic proxy. What I found interesting about it is when I was first, the vote back in December of 2021, that where they said I could no longer come to the meetings, they were very specific in the fact that I could not come to a meeting because I was a chairman, that even there was actually one individual that was there that talked, that was on the executive committee, talked about the fact that there would probably be legal problems with trying to keep me out of the meeting if I was an EC. That the only reason they could keep me out in December was because I was technically a guest as a chairman. Now they have now accelerated to the level of keeping me out as a elected member of that body, which I personally believe that is a violation of state election law, and we are pursuing that. I've had other representatives from other counties reach out and asking whether we're going to continue to pursue that, and yes, we will. But at least until all that gets worked out, you know, Greenville will be represented. What I have seen is various reports that there are only 6 people that voted to allow me in the meeting, to reports that there were only 30 people that voted to keep me out of the meeting. There's a lot of confusion. It's something that is one of the tactics, and we try to teach people about, are the tactics of confusion, of bringing things up last minute. You know, they knew I was running for that position. The discussion had been out there forever, but nobody brings it up until until I won, because they thought that wasn't going to happen, number one. And then number two, Hope Walker, you know, the day before says, oh, you can't come. So, you know, it's interesting what they do, but realize this is just part of the game, and we just, you know, hold the line, we fight forward, and, you know, this exposes them more. So I think we as a county, and certainly our cause across the state, has actually increased by the fact that Drew pulled this stunt. So, you know, I have actually heard reports back from other counties where I've had people that have asked their ECs how they voted. One county actually said, well, we voted that way because Jeff Davis was given a list of things that he was supposed to do to be allowed back in the meeting. Just like while they took over our convention, there was apparently rules violations, but they never told us the rules. Well, I've never been told about a list of things that I needed to do to get back in the meeting. So that was made up. But the second thing I thought this person's point was, well, Jeff sends out that email every day at 6 a.m. So apparently that is something that bothers them too. I'm not sure where First Amendment right of sending out emails or talking or educating people is a reason why to keep someone out of the State Executive Committee meeting. So that was interesting. I did hear from another county where someone asked their state EC, and their excuse for why I was kept out of the meeting, and realize all of these are inaccurate. I mean, this is all a political battle, which is not what we should be doing. I think the gentleman over here talked about, we're all Republicans. If we all believe in the platform, we should be working together, and we should be promoting the platform. Now, the one caveat about the platform is now I hear we're not interpreting the platform correctly. To me, lower taxes or not raising taxes when not necessary is pretty black and white. Pro-life is pretty black and white. To me, all this stuff is pretty black and white. Limited government is pretty black and white. Free market is pretty black and white. That's what we're looking for. And, you know, when South Carolina is the most liberal red state in the nation, I think that's pretty black and white as well. But what this other county EC reported out was her reason that she told one of their constituents in their county is because Jeff Davis claims to be a pro-life person, but she's never seen me at a pro-life event. So that's why she apparently voted me out. That was number one. And her second point was last January 6th of 2022, she said Jeff Davis invited the challenger to Alan Wilson, a Democrat, to come speak literally in this room. Now, do y'all know a Democrat that challenged Alan Wilson? Did David Pascoe, was he an announced candidate? I mean, you know, they're making stuff up. Now, that was from our neighbors in Spartanburg. So just realize this is the type of misinformation that's out there. What I will tell you is that meeting for January 6th of 2022 actually is now created, and I hope you all are happy about it, the discussion of having judicial reform in this state so there's no more Alex Murdaughs is actually going on because of that meeting and because David Pasco stood up here at this microphone and told you guys about the corruption that's going on in the state. So that's kind of my report. If anybody has any questions, I'm always available. Please, if you ever like to come up and meet us at the office, I know we got a call to action. We got, we need more people working and doing some things. But the office is staffed generally 9 to 5 about every day. Then we have committee meetings into the evening. There should be no excuse of not knowing what's going on that you need to come up here. But come talk to us. Come out and work. But it's exciting, the number of touches that we're going to get, that 14.2% voter turnout. If we double that, and if we double that with good conservatives that know the problems with our local elected legislators, that are establishment, that are rhino, that are voting as my House rep did to keep boys and girls sports, and he's been opposing us on real school choice and wanting the government to run our school choice program. So we are going to educate people about that. And I hope a big part of that white line was our precinct, so we've been pretty active in that, and we're going to spread the news. So if you got any questions, just reach out to me, and thanks for what's going on. Thank you.
Thank you. A question? The point of information? Sure, go ahead. Point of information, is that what you're?
Thank you, ma'am. I want to confirm. Okay. That's what I was going to do. I will address the chairman, but the question has to do with one thing. We have 12 regions. Oh, Ron Tamaccio, Furman Precinct. We have 12 regions, and you confirmed that each of those now has a leader. How were those people selected?
Were they selected by the committee?
Which committee?
The reorganization committee.
And did they solicit input from people that wanted the job, or did you just pick names out of a hat?
No, we asked people for their input, people that were interested.
How?
Give the mic to Joe.
Oh.
Give the mic to Mike. Give the mic and hear what he said.
There was no formal process, Ron, because it's not a formal structure. The idea of it is really about trying to get precincts to work together, to communicate together, and to build. And when we put the letter out to everybody, we said that if they felt that there should be changes in the zone organization, they could do it because it's pretty complex, as you know. Districts fall into different districts, cities into different cities. So we tried to put the best organization that we could put together, but we also left it open to the ECs to determine how they wanted that to look. So we wanted feedback. If you didn't like the zones, you could reach out and you could say, okay, we'd like this precinct to be in our zone, or we'd want that precinct to be in another zone. Or if you wanted to change the zone leader, you could absolutely bring that up. If somebody said, but we did not do a formal process to pick zone leaders because we wanted to get this thing up and running. I think eventually leaders always come to the top anyway, right?
That was the point I wanted to make. It was not formal. It's not in stone. If people don't like it, and I'm waiting for whoever my... Could we have order, Mr. Chairman? Well, good. We're happy. Why don't you just shut up?
Okay. One more. Point of order. Yes, go ahead. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it says, right, yeah. Yeah, we can't hear. Can you go ahead?
Oh, all right.
People cannot hear what you're saying.
That's because somebody was yelling over there.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, I like the idea that any EC or president, and perhaps even any member, can write a note to the bottom of that page and say, next meeting, I would like to hear, I would like to talk about, I would like this topic to be addressed. And that will go on the agenda as new business. Am I understanding that correctly?
It can be brought up, that's correct, because of course you should have that right, because this, we serve at the pleasure of the ECs. And so we want to, as a practice, also, as we did this time, get resolutions and everything else out to people as early as possible, because it is difficult to come to a meeting like this and discuss things if people have not read them or don't have all the background. So
I completely support that concept. It's an excellent idea, and thank you for doing it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ron. Yes, do you have yes, Everett Headley?
Everett Headley, Travelers Trust 1. His last point, is this a mandate or is this just a suggestion?
It's a suggestion.
Okay, all right, just asking.
Okay.
Clarification.
Okay, no problem. All right, everybody happy? All right, now to the part I've been waiting for all evening, which is the chance to bring my friend and yours, Harrison Musselwhite, to the stage to censure the covenant breakers.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, patriots. Woo! It is good to be here in the big room at the Hilton. What do y'all think? And I want to remind y'all of one other thing. President Donald J. Trump won the 2020 election, and Joe Biden was installed in the White House like a toilet. And he's been flushing America down the toilet ever since. So it's time for us to do something about it, and that means President Donald J. Trump will win 2024, and we, the people, will be there and inaugurate him into the White House in January of 2025. Now, let's talk some business. What's going on in the Greenville County GOP? Lots of good things, folks. We got our councilman over there, Steve Shaw, Stan Souvlakis. Benton had to leave early. But, folks, we're working with them now, with our pro-life committee, to establish Greenville County as a pro-life sanctuary county in the state of South Carolina. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick and tired of the blood that is being, innocent blood, folks, that is being shed in downtown Greenville. And we, together, we the people, can put a stop to it. Now, what we're getting ready to do tonight is we are going to censure the covenant breakers. That's who those 6 uniparty Republicans sitting on the county council are. They are covenant breakers. They have broken covenant with our South Carolina GOP platform, and they have broken covenant with us, we the people. So when we do this, folks, this is going to matter, okay? This isn't just your normal censure. With this censure, when we pass it together, we will be putting out door hangers. And at the beginning of this door hanger, it will say, Dan Tripp, censured by the Greenville County GOP for breaking the South Carolina Republican platform. And it'll go on down the list. Elizabeth Seaman, Butch Kervin, Michael Barnes, Chris Harrison, and don't forget sweet Joey Russo. Now, the other thing that we're doing here is when we put these door hangers out, we're going to be working with the precincts. And we have spoken, I'm looking for Yvonne, Jeff, myself, others. We have spoken. We are going to try to work together with all the precincts
who want to put door hangers on their covenant-breaking, uniparty Republican councilmen, the Greenville County GOP will split the cost with your precinct. But in order to do that, folks, what does it take? It takes money. That's exactly right. Does anybody like this big, comfortable room? I sure do. So I'm asking you tonight, and Scott Gear, wherever you are, thank you. Scott Gear primed the pump tonight. I want to let y'all know. Tonight, we need funds to do these things to hold the uniparty covenant-breaking council members accountable. Now, I'm going to call up some folks here. When I mention your covenant-breaking, uniparty Republican council member, I would like you to come stand with us back here. Because it's not me censoring them, I'm just one man. But it's us, we the people together. So, anyone that is in Chairman Dan Tripp, District 28, please come up here and stand with me tonight as we censure him. There, come on, sister. Yes, you. If not you, then who? Folks, we're doing this together, and it is going to make a difference. Next, anyone in Vice Chair Elizabeth Seaman, District 24, please come up and stand with us as we censure them and hold them accountable for their covenant breaking tonight. Next, Joey Russo, District 17, the covenant breaker. Anyone in his district, come on up here and stand with us. Michael Barnes, Republican covenant breaker, District 18. Come on up here and stand with us, folks. And Chris Harrison, District 21. Also big in real estate. He told us that as he broke his covenant with the South Carolina GOP and we the people. And last but not least, old Butch Kerbin from District 27. Come on, Fowlers. Now, before I read this, folks, I do want to put out a little advertisement for the Legislative Committee. Folks, this is what we're doing. We're doing it on the local level. We're doing it on the state level. If you would like to be a member, a working member of the Legislative Committee, please come see me tonight. Give me a call. Give me a text. We need your help.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
Can the rest of us come up there, too?
I'll let Steve and Stan, y'all ready to come? Come on, everybody. Let's censure them together.
Anybody wants to censure him, stand on up.
Come on. We got room. I'll just squeeze a little closer to the podium.
Can we do a petition?
Hello,
Sure, these guys, come on up.
I know. Well, I mean, leave it up here, and people can throw it on the way.
You don't have to be an EC, anybody.
That's right. EC President, Constitutional Conservative Republican of Greenville County, come on up. If you didn't like the fact that the Greenville County Council Uniparty Republicans gave us all the middle finger, come on up. Because you know what we're doing tonight? We're giving it right back to them en masse. Woo! Yes, amen. All right, I think we might have just about everybody, so here we go. The Greenville County Republican Party resolution of censure for County Councilman Butch Kerbin, Joey Russo, Michael Barnes, Elizabeth Seaman, Daniel Tripp, and Chris Harrison. Whereas we call on every level of government to exhibit sound fiscal management and live within its means, providing effective and efficient government with minimum taxation. And whereas we are the party of opportunity and support a tax policy designed to help the economy grow, not stunt the taxpayer or punish achievement. And whereas Greenville County taxpayers were already being stunted by Bidenomics and economic uncertainty. And whereas the above-mentioned council members were elected as Republicans to implement fiscal responsibility, which is in Article 5 of the South Carolina GOP platform. And whereas the above-mentioned council members voted for a $785 million budget for tax years 2023 through 2024 and tax years 2024 through 2025, with an increase in the millage rate for the county by 7. And whereas the above-mentioned council members broke their pledge to uphold the South Carolina GOP platform by needlessly raising taxes on the people of Greenville County on June 23, 2023. Therefore, the Executive Committee of the Greenville County Republican Party hereby issues this resolution of censure regarding the tax increase votes of County Council Chairman Daniel Tripp, District 28, Vice Chair Elizabeth Seaman, District 24, Joey Russo, District 17, Michael Barnes, District 18, Chris Harrison, District 21, Butch Curvin, District 27, on this 7th day of August 2023. Do I have by acclamation a reception? Oh, second for the motion. And you are? What else we need? Oh, can't be voted on tonight. All right, Gregory Peck said we got to have 2 more readings. One more reading. But folks, this is notice to our uniparty. Read it again. Yeah, I can't do that. I'm sweating on that one. This is notice, and listen, we together will hold them accountable. This is going on door hangers in each one of their districts, at the top, censured by we the people of the Greenville County GOP. Thank you. Oh, yes. Right, and according to Gregory Peck, before y'all leave, we need by acclamation a vote for a second reading. Can I get an aye? Aye, amen. And you, Gregory? All right, go ahead, Everett. Yeah, I guess you can address me.
So, I was here when this rule passed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the first reading.
That's correct.
We have to pass it.
Correct.
All right. Here, I'm sorry.
Okay, I was here when this rule was passed. This has to be passed first reading this time. So we still need to vote on it, and we can do the acclamation that you're talking about unless somebody objects. And then the second one is an actual vote. It's not a reading. We will vote on it as a final. Okay, so the next meeting we will vote on this as a final to censure, and we can then at that point submit it. Yeah. Well, for a final vote.
All right, folks, we want to do everything by the rules. So, what I'm going to ask you all for by acclamation, just say aye, as we all agree that we are voting for this reading tonight and that we are voting for a final reading at our next meeting here at the Hilton in Greenville County. Can I get an aye? Amen. The ayes have it. And guess what? soon there's going to be 6 less uniparty Republicans on our county council. They're going down.
Dan Healy, EC, Sulphur Springs. I move to adjourn.
Second. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Susanna wants to say something.
Hey, you guys.
Susanna.
Motion to adjourn.